This segment of Healthy Living is brought to you by Radisson Fort George Hotel and Marina. Yes, I can.
Saving limbs, saving lives. That's the motto of the Diabetes Foot Center Group. Dr. Stephen Wells is the CEO and founder of the group, which aims to educate and reduce the number of people whose limbs are amputated due to diabetes. Dr. Wells and other specialists have been visiting Belize for the past 5 years.
Well, I originally came with the Belize Diabetes Association of New York. They brought me in because there are so many amputations here in Belize, and because that's my area of expertise.
For me, it's personal. My grandfather was born and raised here, and he actually died here.
So that made you even more willing?
More willing to come on my own dime. The first year I came because I saw a need and I wanted to be here, and it was a personal connection to Belize.
The first 4 years, the group worked with the medical staff at KHMH, seeing and treating diabetic patients. Their biggest concern was the number of patients who were being amputated. Dr. Magdalena Garcia, a medical officer at KHMH, says it is a well-documented problem faced in Belize.
We did a study in 2014 in KHMH. We had about 70 patients there. Out of the 70 patients, 32 had received amputations, whether they were toe amputations, whether they were transmetatarsal amputations, whether they were above the knee amputations and below the knee amputations. It was alarming to know these statistics that we are seeing. So therefore, having these two groups here will give us the training to prevent these amputations.
They lose their limbs because they don't understand what the warning signs are, what the warning signals are. If they think they have a cut and it just develops into a sore, I'll clean it off with peroxide or I'll wash it off, I'll put a Band-Aid and I will be okay. That is not the situation with diabetes. It has to be treated properly. Amputation is the resolve here instead of patient care. And that's basically because people are not prepared. There are no podiatrists here in Belize. That's major, and especially when there are so many people losing their limbs. We have to educate people who are here.
Once your sugar goes high, it damages all the cells of your body. But the ones that are most susceptible are the blood vessels and also the tissues of the body. So that makes you more susceptible to infection, and ultimately that leads to you developing an infection which can cause you to lose your limb. So we can connect the dots, but the real issue is understanding why diabetes is so deadly. It not only causes you to lose your limb, but what we know is within a few years you lose your life.
So after 4 years of working directly with patients during their mission trips, the group has now shifted their focus to education.
An approach we're taking now is to educate nurses and midwives because they're here. When we leave, they're the ones that are actually touching the patients. So we're educating them on how to work with diabetic patients here and to take care of wounds. Wound care is a big issue here.
I wanted to give the nurses the ability to train the doctors and train themselves and train the patients to really be able to manage their diabetes. So education really is the thing that we want to teach them. So they're really learning how to manage their own diabetes and also see the signs and the danger signs of perhaps even losing their limb.
These patients are coming very late. One, because we would like that in the primary care, meaning the polyclinics, that they would have more education so that we prevent these patients coming in at these late stages. Once the patient is admitted, that we need to take more and focus more on trying to save the limb rather than amputate. Once you have amputations, in the first year you have 40% of mortality rate. After 5 years, we have 80% of mortality rate with these patients. So it is quite alarming, and we do need to make prevention. And the first contact that the patient sees is the nurse. So therefore, we have the nurses at the different stations enforcing and implementing the prevention.
The long-term goal is much broader. Belize has one of the highest prevalence rates of diabetes in the region. Dr. Wells and his group are hoping that education can be the change to saving limbs and, more importantly, saving lives.
I'm hoping that Belize will actually be a leader in the region, and I have a vested interest to see Belize do well. I actually want every Belizean to live a full life. So we're talking about quality of life, we're talking about a happy life, a full life, a life without disease, a life basically without suffering. I mean, we have enough issues. Diabetes shouldn't be one.
segment of Healthy Living was brought to you by Radisson Fort George Hotel and Marina. Yes, I can.